the person who wins the endorsement is probably going to be a Libertarian Tea Party candidate.
Political observer Eric Pusey and Tim O'Brien sort through the theater of Minnesota right-wingers, liberals, and moderates. You're going to want to hear this. Democratic Visions is handcrafted by lefty volunteers, mostly Democrats, for the entire metro region. Here's Tim O'Brien.
Eric Pusey is retiring from the blogosphere. After nearly 8 years and some 2,600 posts at Minnesota Progressive Project, the Big E is retiring from the feisty, lefty blog site that he co-founded. His co-conspirators will continue on without him. He has written that his heart isn't in it anymore. Some say it's way too coincidental that Eric is calling it quits in the same time frame as Michelle Bachmann pulling the plug. Others say it just proves the rule of three. Michelle Bachmann, Eric Pusey, and Jay Leno all calling it quits at the same time. Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Eric, welcome to Democratic Visions, and tell us, why are you calling it quits?
Well, great to be here. Thanks for asking me on again. As I said, my heart isn't in it. If Michelle Bachmann insisting she's going to sue President Obama over executive privilege and Keith Ellison wanting to talk to me about my new book doesn't motivate me, it's time to find something new.
But how can you walk away from a contested Senate race and a contested gubernatorial race here in Minnesota? Look at those candidates stacked up on the Republican side for the Senate. You got Julie Ortman. Now, give us your take on Julie.
Ethics.
Ethics?
Big ethics problems.
Oh, does that have anything to do with working for the Hennepin County Sheriff, putting in a 15-hour day once, and then charging the state Senate 96 days, I believe, for per diem?
Might be. I might have written about that.
Oh. What do you think her prospects are? She got all of 31% in the Republican straw poll that was conducted at the precinct caucus level.
It all depends. I mean, what are the Libertarians and the Tea Party going to do? I mean, they don't particularly like her. She's not conservative enough, although she's trying.
What's your sense of where the Libertarians and the Tea Parties are going to be in that race?
I have no idea. But if they have anything to do with the party like they did in 2012, I mean, they run the party now. It's going to be a clown show. We're going to have Mr. Bill again, Kurt Bills from Rosemount.
What about the $57 million man, McFadden, the fellow that's going to run come hell or high water, primary here I come on the Senate side for the Republicans?
I recall a Republican candidate running for president in 2012, Romney. He's Romney Jr. He's a vulture capitalist. He makes money by firing people.
So let's turn to who's going to challenge Mark Dayton and his newly selected Lieutenant Governor Tina Smith.
Tina Smith is a great candidate. She's a very smart woman. She has a ton of connections. Did a lot for R.T. Ryback on his staff.
Did a lot for the city of Minneapolis.
Heck yeah, she's really good. I'm really excited about her as a lieutenant governor candidate. As for the Republicans, as I said before, who's going to turn it into a clown show? Marty Seifert actually has a chance since his buddy Tom Emmer is not running.
Good point.
He's running up in the 6th district to make sure.
That's an entirely different story.
Yeah, but to make sure that Minnesota still gets embarrassed by the 6th district.
A tradition to uphold.
Traditions to uphold. So we've got Dave Thompson from Lakeville, who will only run for office if someone pays him.
Oh, that he was hired. He took in a fair amount of money from the Republican Party itself, did he not?
Doing some vague sort of thing.
Now, is that the Republican Party that ran itself into a couple $1 million in debt?
Might have been that same party.
Okay. Uh-huh. And who else lines up there that you recall?
Oh, I know who you're going to say. It's Kurt Zellers.
Yeah.
We can forget about Kurt Zellers.
So, okay. What about the McFadden clone, Scott Honor?
Honor among thieves. Another guy who likes to fire people for a living, so that he'll be great. There's no chance we would ever compare that poor man to Mitt Romney. We never would do that.
Now, it's going to go to a primary because at least one of those candidates, Seifert, has said that he's going to go to a primary if necessary. Who do you think is going to come out on the Republican side?
I have no idea. First off, the person who wins the endorsement is probably going to be a Libertarian Tea Party candidate. They're going to have virtually no backing from the party because the party has no organization and no money. So Honor and McFadden have great chances in their races. But we know already how to campaign against them. I'm sure The DFL, Alliance for a Better Minnesota, has tons of stuff all ready to just launch as soon as those guys look like they're solidly going to be the candidates.
Well, let's venture from the ridiculous to the sublime. Let's talk about the 3rd District. Eric Paulson represents the 3rd District in Congress. Eric Paulson hasn't garnered an opponent yet. I don't know whether he's going to get a credible opponent, a good, loyal DFLer who could win. But paint me a picture as to what kind of attributes you think a candidate should bring to a candidacy to beat Eric Paulson for Congress out here.
Well, first off, it needs to be someone who's willing to run to probably 3 times. I remember John Klein ran 3 times before he eventually won. It was his 3rd try that he finally won. So they have to be dedicated to the cause. Someone who's hopefully held some office. If not, they need to be able to build that support so that the candidacy ends up being really about them. It needs to be someone who's got a force of personality that can drive it. I've been talking to a number of people about this, and I'm aware of some polling that Paulson is really weak, especially because of all the shutdown and the holding the debt ceiling hostage and all this nonsense.
He voted right down the line for that.
Yeah, he votes virtually the same as Michelle Bachmann, except he doesn't say crazy things in public that people record. But he's weak, he's vulnerable, and we just need to find somebody. And that of course, is our problem. Everybody's looking for someone, trying to convince people to run, but if you're a legislator who's won your seat, there's a number of them out in the district, now we can really get some good things done at the legislature. Why do you want to risk that for a shot at a Republican, and when it's going to take 2 or 3 times to win? So recruiting someone with some history is going to be tough.
I personally think that in order to knock him off, we're going to have to run a woman for that office. Do you agree with that?
It certainly could be. Once again, it is really the personality that's going to drive this. We need to continue building the structure in the 3rd, but it's going to really be about the personality.
I could envision a circumstance if we could find a qualified woman that possesses what you just described, who would run in 14, and if she doesn't win in 14, then run with Hillary in 16. I would think that would be a very, very powerful combination, because Hillary, from all indication, is not only going to run, she's going to win in 2016.
Looking at Ashwin Medea in 2008, he ran away from Obama and lost. Obama won the 3rd district in 2008. So, going with the presidential candidate is always going to be a good thing, especially as the demographics turn more and more blue, because by 2016, by 2018, the district is going to get that much more blue.
What about 6th district? We've talked about Emmer is probably a shoe-in there, is that correct?
Yeah.
What about the 7th? Do you think Colin Peterson's going to run again?
Yeah.
I haven't followed it that well, but is this normally what he does? He sort of sits there and doesn't describe what his intentions are until it's time to actually, he has to make a decision?
It's his seat as long as he wants it. I mean, the Republicans will try to run somebody against him, but the Republicans will probably take the seat back as soon as he quits.
Let's complete the loop. Let's go up to the 8th district.
Oh, yes.
Rick Nolan, good guy.
Yeah.
Apparently, Stu Mills III is his opponent. Hasn't been endorsed yet, but I assume that's going to happen. How do you think that's going to come down?
Well, let's put it this way. What does your family do for Christmas?
Well, we sort of gather around the Christmas tree.
Well, his apparently likes to use beer bongs. And we've got great pictures of him. They were out on the internet, and he didn't get them down quick enough, so we have them.
Well, maybe that happened long ago in his career.
It wasn't that long ago. That's what's really funny. The other things that are particularly funny is Fleet Farm has gotten a lot of government aid to create jobs.
The Mills operation.
Mills Fleet Farm, despite the fact that he's against government intervention and big government, blah, blah, blah. And then his car dealership, the family car dealership, I don't think it's particularly his, the car dealership has gotten cash for clunkers money. I mean, talk about making some money off the government.
Eric, I really appreciate your insights now and over the years, and best wishes going forward.
Thanks so much.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
Not for long,
From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for the reality. This land was made for me.
Well, I roamed and rambled. Well, I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. While all around me, a voice was sounding.
This land was made for me.
Everybody, this land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water.
The presentation of guests and opinions on this program does not indicate endorsement by the state DFL party or DFL Senate District 48.